Hello. I want to find out how loud we are. How is everyone? Good, good, good. Just going to see whether the clicker works to start with. Does the clicker work, Jane? Otherwise, I'd just be talking. We'll find out. Okay, whilst we find out, what I'm going to do is a fairly quick presentation, and we're going to cover some of the key elements that have already been touched on, but we're going to look at a tactical level, and in particular, we're going to look both for the country, and just out of interest, how many people have their own business, work in a company, or looking for their own benefits in relation to brand? Okay? So everything I say is going to be applicable to you as well as on a country level. Now, we shall see if we have a presentation or not. Aha, we do. Just in the nick of time. So I specialize in a lot of Google products and services. I'm going to talk particularly about search, and we're going to talk about YouTube. But before we get there, we're going to talk about your position in the world and helping people really understand who you are, what you do, so you build your brand in the mind of those people. I have a slight little thing going on in my ear. Okay. And the principle that I have found what works so well when you're connecting to people is to find the people who already have other people's attention. Are you all familiar with influencer marketing and thought leadership? You all show me hands. You know these terms? So really, this is about connecting you with those people who have a voice and an audience. But before we get to that bit, I wanted to look at some hard facts, some Google data about Kazakhstan. And Google.com, I looked, and there's over 80% of people in Kazakhstan are using Google.com. How many of you use Google? Okay, so pretty representative. But let's have a look, and both Google.com and YouTube, but let's look at the stats. For Kazakhstan, who is looking for you? So I pulled up a search, and there are 335 million pages coming up on Google.com for Kazakhstan. And YouTube, we have an enormous amount as well. We have 13.5 million. Now, if you want to see this presentation on YouTube, you can search for the words brand Kazakhstan, and I've already put this presentation, not on the stage, but recorded it, onto YouTube. And it took 1 day to go to the top for the terms brand Kazakhstan. So there's lots of people talking about it, but there's actually 301,000 searches on Google.com looking at this week's data in the past month. But I found this really interesting. There's a very low amount of people looking for some of the things that you may think are the most interesting. Kazakhstan companies, Kazakhstan businesses, you can see 610 people, 440 people. And this leads us on to really, how do you get the story out? How do you connect with people? So let's talk about getting connected. We have lots of social networks. How many people on Facebook? Instagram? LinkedIn? A few. Google Plus? A few, little, okay. Now, let me just say, the social media ecosystem is already incredibly filled out across the world. So if you're not connecting with people, this is what I want to be encouraging you to do. And I'm going to give you a few methods to do that. Sorry. There are people like Brian Kramer, 145,000 followers on Twitter, and coming across, we have Ted Rubin. These have great business networks. So if you're looking at connecting with business people, you can go and follow these people. We have Pam Moore, and we have Mark Schaefer, and Chris Brogan, and many of these people have been my mentors along the way. And I have a network on Google, and that's where a lot of people connect with me and talk business. For you, You already tell stories. I've looked. You have stories that are going on. All of this is part of a story. And you're going to recognize, probably, I'll tell you what, I'm just going to go back. Raise awareness, one blog, one video, one app at a time. This is what this becomes about. You have the opportunity to connect in people's minds, Kazakhstan, brand Kazakhstan, every time you communicate. Every blog post, every video, every app. And we see things in the news, and we begin to build up a picture. We begin to create a narrative from the information that you give. And you're already telling these stories, and you have wonderful things. You have a space department. This is great. And you have great success stories and things that you're proud of. Exactly. So you're already telling stories. But you're not necessarily helping enough people to tell stories. By bringing us here, we are going to go back to the United Kingdom, to the United States, all over the world, and tell people our experience. We already are using social media, we're already posting, people are already engaging, people are starting to build up these micro moments in their mind through the engagement with us. But if you can help people tell more engaging stories and bring them into the success, just like you have done with the conference, we are part of this brand and part of this brand experience. You can reach out as an individual company and help people fall in love with your own brand. This is very much about brand ambassadors and influencers and influencer marketing. Just as an example, I'll quickly take you through a series of slides. When I arrived, well, actually last time I was in Almaty in September. So I told a story very intentionally. And I told people that I was in Wales. This is a picture of Wales. We have hills in Wales, believe it or not, little hills. So I told people I was going, and then I arrived, and I showed a picture of the mountains. So I continued the narrative through social media, and then I was with Anna, I was with Tina, and I decided to climb and take a photo, and people took a picture of me climbing, and I told people on social. Now, little by little, people start to get an impression of the experience that I'm having. They can see that I'm enjoying myself. They can see that it's a cultural experience for me. Then I start to get into the business. I'm presenting. I was mentoring a group at Tech Nation. So I start to show the pictures of me in Kazakhstan with groups of people that have startups. And this then connects the dots between people's original view of me arriving into a strange, unusual country that they don't know, and then bit by bit they see familiarity. They know that I do this work. They start to see that this is another country where people like myself and many others can go and connect with people. And I've used one of the pictures as my profile picture for many of the social networks. And people then have a reinforced experience. Every time I +1, every time I comment, every time I like, every time I share the content, people see my face. When you do the same, they see your face. If you create a narrative around how you got there, and just like now on Facebook, if you follow me there, if anyone follows me /Martin Sherv with a V, you'll see I have #TechNomad. And I have a picture the same as everyone else. I'm part of this narrative. Now, here's something interesting that is happening. Google.com, the default is private. It's personalized, but it's called private now. And this means that for the people that are following me on that particular network, and it happens there's about 1.2 million people following me, when they search for Kazakhstan, they are very likely to see my face come up on the first page. Let me just go back. Notice the experience. If you bring up the search result and you see me, I am connected to that brand for all of those people that are searching. This is how you use social and search together. Help them tell stories. Bring them into the narrative that you're creating and why you're proud of your country and your business. But then we go into a different territory, and this is about going local. We're looking at global, looking at connecting with influencers, looking at bringing them in, but something's happening. And you have an opportunity, the same as every single other country, city, business on the planet right now, which is to go local and build up the ecosystem. Let me explain how this works. Google are absolutely determined to put every city on the map, put every business on the map. It's already happening. And as a story, as tech nomads, what I want is to trust that when I arrive here, the experience that I have is going to be awesome. And the way that this is happening increasingly is that people are putting the businesses on the map. They are sharing their experiences. Google Maps takes these photos, and if you look for Hilton Garden Hotel, which is where I'm staying, I posted pictures that are now attached to that business, and you'll see them if you search for that business. But there's one key factor, that is reviews. People trust reviews from people that they know, already know something about somewhere. So if I've been somewhere and I review somewhere, I put my name to that for the people that are following me. Because it's all about trust. So if you build out your ecosystem and allow and encourage businesses to really get people to review, be honest, and let them know where the best coffee shop is. Let them know where they can find Wi-Fi. These things matter. And at a local level, you're starting to build from the ground up a place where people can see that everybody is telling a story about this being a good place to be. So, ladies and gentlemen, that was a presentation that should hopefully help people connect with the brand and love brand Kazakhstan. Thank you.